All right, Martin, people are starting to enter the room now. So we'll give it, welcome everybody. We'll give it another just few seconds as people are joining, but I see a number of notes coming through. We'll give it just a few more seconds. All right, well, you know what? Let's just jump right in, Martin. So thank you, everybody, for joining Up2Us Sports. This is our virtual gala. It's our 8th gala overall for the organization, which really is trying to have a coach in every kid's life to help them with sports, but also off the playing field with everything in life as a national organization. So super excited to be here with Martin Brodeur. Incredible long career, 22 seasons. I'm tired even saying 22 seasons, Martin. But so I'm just going to rattle off some stats for people to give context. I'm sure there's a lot of fans of your career, but 2-time Olympic gold medalist for Team Canada, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, have actually had an NHL rule change that was called the Brodeur rule because of the unique way you played goalie. Member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, 22 seasons, 21 of them with the Devils, 17 postseason campaigns, which is an amazing percentage. Been named one of the 100 greatest NHL players, 691 wins. Don't want to leave the one off. So I could keep going. 10-time All-Star. So just amazing career. So excited for you to join with the group on Up2Us. Thought we'd jump in when it, obviously we talk about coaching and the impact coaches have on people's lives. You started at a young age growing up in Canada, and no pressure as a dad who won a bronze medal in the Olympics as a goaltender. Who were the first influences on you in terms of coaching and getting involved with hockey from the early years?
Well, thanks for having me. This is great. Yeah, well, I guess I could start when I was, I started playing hockey. I was 4 years old. So definitely, I got a lot of coaches, a lot of volunteers that obviously are helping the young hockey players up in Canada. So that was great. Parents are the one that are making the huge commitment. When you're that young to kind of move you around and trusting the coaches to do the right thing for their son. And so that was kind of nice. My father was pretty involved. Obviously, he told he was a hockey player himself. I'm one of 5 kids. My 2 older brothers, so I kind of just followed path what my brothers were doing. So we all played hockey. But obviously, at one point, I had a goalie coach that really helped me out, and the organization hired this coach to take care of the goalies throughout their youth hockey. So this guy, his name is Mario Beryl. I had him. I think I started maybe at 8 years old, 9 years old with him, and I got him all the way throughout. I was probably 14 years old, and so that kind of you build up a relationship of kind of trust and knowing what to do from the same voice all the time, and that kind of really helped me out. And obviously, goalie is a little different. We're more specific as a position compared to a whole team that you have teammates and all that. But with tons of head coaches throughout my youth hockey, and like I said, I've been really fortunate. I never had an incident. I think people were really invested. They weren't paid coaches. They were there because they wanted to make a difference, and that I think made the huge difference in the way they treated all the players that that came across when I was around youth hockey.
Interesting. So when I think of goalies, obviously the last line of defense, you started out not playing goalie. Did it take any convincing to switch to? I didn't play hockey, but soccer goalies, it's always the pressure for the team. Was it something that naturally drawn towards, or was it a struggle for them to convince you at first?
Well, my dad was a goalie, so secretly always wanted me to be a goalie, but he wanted me to have fun at first. And it's funny, it was just the love of the game that made me become a goalie. At 8 years old, I was playing on a team, and another team needed a goalie for a tournament. And the coach asked me, "Would you like to go?" And like my dad, yeah, he's gonna go. So I decided to go and enjoyed it. And so the rest of the year I was on 2 teams, so just more hockey. And the following season I had to make a decision. At one point you can't just be both every single year, and I made the decision, with my family to decide to become a goalie. So it kind of turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I would say not too bad. 20 seasons turned out pretty well. What so obviously some amazing coaches, and you talked about the love of the game of the coaches that volunteering, and we see it up to sports, the impact that coaches can have in kids' lives. Devils, a strong culture, known as a strong organization that kind of ran a tight ship, so to speak. Different coaches, different styles. What were your key kind of takeaways or things that just memorable things from any of your coaches that really stuck with you that you applied kind of on a consistent basis?
Yeah, everybody has different way of teaching and different way of communicating with people. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to got coached by some great coaches. Obviously, a lot of them got fired because that's why I had more coaches. That's just the way it goes. I'll take the blame on a few of those, maybe, but it's okay. It's all good. But Jacques Lemaire was my first coach in the NHL, and he came in from this great organization that is the Montreal Canadiens, and he really brought a lot of the culture of that organization to the Devils. And obviously, Lou Lamoriello, that was running the Devils as the general manager and the president, really embraced what Jacques uh, was was brought in to do, and what the history of the Montreal Canadiens, and about the discipline that is needed to be successful as a team. And so Jacques was really firm. Really, there was no gray area with him when he coached or when he wanted to do discipline or whatever. It is the way he was running a tight ship, like you said, but we knew exactly what to do. And sometimes there's athletes that they like that structure because you know what, it kind of gives you a direction where to go and not ad lib where you're supposed to go. And so for him, the message, especially for the veterans, at first was a little hard to get through. But when he was able to get to a few guys for the rest of the team to buy in, and I think that was one of his strengths, is to kind of know who the leaders are, and make sure you apply it as much as you can towards them for them to be able to have it throughout the whole team, and that's where you build a winning hockey team. And there's and obviously yeah.
Oh, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's exactly what. Yeah, sorry, that's okay. That's what I think Jacques was able to do. And later on, that was my first coach. Obviously, we won the Stanley Cup with him. My second Stanley Cup was with Larry Robinson, another great hockey player that played in Montreal and know exactly what the culture. So he jumped into that position knowing exactly what we needed to do, but his approach was more of a tap on the back type of guy. He was not a tough. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't, but it was really emotional, and that emotion really helped us out that time to understand that he's doing everything he can, and we're failing right now as a team because he's giving us all the tools for us to be successful. And we were treated so nicely with him, and I remember one day, like we were up. I think we were in the conference finals against the Flyers, and we were down 3 games to 1. And he came in after the game, so game 4, and he was like really emotional about our team because we were such a good team and we were underachieving in that series. And he says, "Well, you guys, if you don't listen to me, like tomorrow is going to be our last game." And he just said it a certain way. He goes, "You guys tried it for 3 games straight your way, and you see it's not working. So day by day, game by game, we're gonna just listen to what I'm telling you." And next thing you know, like he almost like he was tearing up when he was saying it. And so like we took it really to heart, and we went in and we climb up out of the series, won in Game 7 in Philadelphia. So that was it's kind of pretty neat. You know, you see a coach he played in the NHL. He's won, I don't know, 6 Stanley Cups, and he's so emotional about our success. And so that's kind of nice to have somebody that's your leader that acts like that, you know?
It's it's powerful. It's just a good example of how the right coach at the right moment can motivate a team in such impactful ways and can clearly translate to the performance. So it's interesting with different coaching. You just talked about very different coaching styles. So, I mean, you probably more than anybody, just with the length of your career with 22 seasons, how did you see from when you were a kid through the end of your career, coaching styles change? Like, they talk about now athletes having more of a voice than in the past. Like, did you see a big evolution over time, or did it not change that much over your career?
No, it changed. I think the way people are, just, they need information. People like crave information. And so now the new coaches, I mean, you have to interact with your players. You have to tell them what to do, but tell them a certain way. And then sometimes it's different ways for for different players are they learn different ways. And so you have to be able to kind of pinpoint what makes that player tick as much as possible. And obviously, one of the biggest thing that I feel in hockey and in sports, it's your assistant coach, how important they are. Because as head coach, you have to make some tough decision, and it's hard for you to understand your players. But if you have really good assistant coach that and you give him leeway as far as systems and explaining a certain way, and like there's a defense side of it, there's an offensive side of it, and everybody's different the way they process their information. And so I feel that in the teams now that I'm on the management side, I think it's as important as your head coach, as your assistant coach, is the support cast, because players are scared to talk to the head guy. Some guys are not as comfortable as others. Other guys don't really care, but there's other guys that need that attention, and it's easier for them to get it from the assistant coach. So it becomes important.
That's interesting. Well, and you referenced on the management side, just the coaching of complementary different people, personality-wise, can connect with different people. So let me ask you. So for those who don't know, you're now executive vice president of business development for the Devils, and I'm seeing some of the prompts come in from people saying, "Goat, what a legend!" So, which is such a testament to your playing career. So, how was the transition into the work side of it? Because going from being like one of the tops in a field in the world to then into business, like, was that a hard transition? Easy? I'm curious what that first early years were like.
Well, it's like any athlete. You're kind of scared of retirement. You're not sure exactly what's going to happen. You're pretty young when you retire, so there's a lot of time for you to find your way. But I was lucky enough. I got right in the organization with St. Louis Blues when I retired there. So I was assistant general manager on the hockey side for 3.5 years. And there was a lot of work. I have a little one at home, so I wanted to kind of scale back a little bit, and that's where I went back to New Jersey and work in the business development under Hugh Weber and Scott O'Neill. And now that for me, it was just kind of learning the ropes about the business of hockey, and I've done that for 2 years, and I just changed to on the hockey side now that I work closely with the general manager of the Devils, Tom Fitzgerald, to kind of help out and guide them as an advisor also. So, but it's for me, it was the scares like, well, what am I going to do after I'm done? I mean, you can only play golf so many times, so many days. And that the adrenaline of being part of a team, that's what I was missing, and joining both organization can now your roots so good. I mean, physically you don't do it, but you're helping out, players, and you're drafting players, and you're part of an organization through let's say our managing partners and the people in the office that work in the back office on the business side, and you see how invested they are. And as a player, it's kind of nice to see that support that these players are getting from these organizations.
Absolutely, and the power of when a team comes together. It's different than sports, but when an organization comes together, how motivating that can be. Was there one kind of guiding principle or lesson that you took from your successful playing career that you now apply to business, from kind of the athlete mindset? Or
I'm just curious. I think that's for me. I ask question, and I don't feel I know it all, and that's the way I thought about hockey, about trying to get better. I played in, I don't know, like from 93, 94 to 2013, 14. I mean, so a lot of things change. And so my game needed to change and adapt and asking questions. And that's what I do in business for the most part, is just, make sure if I don't know, just ask, because that's, I didn't go to school for it. I don't think I'm smarter than the other one, but I'm really invested in it. So I just wanted to make sure that you ask a lot of questions, and that really helps, and it puts people really comfortable when you're able to be open like that with other people.
yeah, well, it's also very vulnerable when you don't have to, you can be open about what something you need to learn and be a sponge on, versus trying to, act as though something. I think that can be powerful, and people that resonates with teammates, so to speak.
Yeah.
What So in terms of now, and you have a son, that must have been a proud moment when you announced him being drafted. Um, what kind of lessons learned in terms of coaching or mentorship do you try and apply to your kids, that you took from just all the coaches and mentors you've had in your life?
Well, I think it's the respect of the game. I think when you're young, you do things that you don't think it's going to matter. But everything you do in your career, it's always going to be, always going to follow you, regardless if it's being lazy, or being cocky, or being, not respectful for people. For me, my dad played hockey. He was a photographer for the Montreal Expos and Montreal Canadiens, and I got a lot of lessons from him, in the way to act, around people, the way, my work ethic and all that. And sometimes it was just because of experience of that he had with some players, and he would come back at the dinner table, and he had a conversation with my mom, and he was so upset. He goes, I'm going in, and I'm waiting for 3 hours for this guy, and he comes in, he's not even shaved, and then my dad's supposed to take a nice picture of him, and now he's got to go back and shave, or he refused to shave, or like these are just example. But it's like, for me, before I came to this, I made sure I shave. I know you have a beard on, but it's the, you
Yeah, too much gray, unfortunately. Um, it No, absolutely, there's lessons learned, and your dad was, a renowned photographer in hockey, and also, as you said, with the Expos, and I'm guessing being around the environment, is reading about you going to spring training, many years, the road trip to Florida, just being around the other sports environments, I'm sure had an impact as well, just seeing how people were acting.
Well, for sure. I think every sport has their different ways of going about their business. But like for me, I'm a big fan of athletes, not really sports team. And so that's one thing that throughout my youth, and even now, I always love to watch the top players, what they do, how they act, how they react, and how they speak. And I think
Interesting.
you learn a lot from these guys. And I did that a lot through my career, to try to help me to be a better athlete, a better person. But I think it's for the kids. I think it's an important part, and that's why these guys are role model. And you see some guys acting a certain way. There's a reason why, like, the Derek Jeters are the Derek Jeters. The Tom Brady's are the Tom Brady's. That's there's a lot to watch if you pay attention.
Absolutely. Was there one player who, when you were a young coming into the organization, was there one player who you really, took a lot of those kind of lessons from, or how someone was acting in the locker room, or just with the team overall?
It was kind of hard because we're similar ages and stuff like that. I really looked outside my sport to really understand how people were doing. Like for me, growing up, like Gary Carter was a big deal in
Oh yeah.
Montreal. Jean Billy Vaux, the Montreal Canadiens, and these people, just the way they acted, the way you saw, and the way my dad would talk about them, kind of really related to the way I was thinking.
Interesting. Yeah, I grew up on Long Island, so I was very happy when the Mets got Gary Carter and his enthusiasm. What? So such a long career. Now there's so much talk about technology and fitness and new innovations of keeping in you know just the optimum shape for performance. Was there a point in your career where you're 14 years in or 16 years in where you're like, I've got to pivot and evolve how I'm training in the off season in order to keep at this level? And were any coaches impactful in that, or was that from mostly within?
Well, it was mostly within, but the thing is, I hired a coach to do it. So, obviously, when I turned, I was probably say 32, 33. I had a really good run as far as like success in my late 20s and early 30s. And so when I saw that I was not sliding, but it wasn't coming as easy, I really pivoted into hiring like a strength coach over the summer. And this guy, like he worked hard with me. He was really respectful about everything, about my time off also, because I got 5 kids, so I
Yeah.
was a little busy in the summer because my wife had to take care of him while I played. So the summertime, I was kind of my time to do some stuff. But yeah, I think you have to adjust with times. And right now, I think it's imperative to stay on top of your fitness. There's different ways of doing it, and none is you know none is bad, and so you just what works for you. But again, every sport is more specialized now, and so you could break down your workouts for the needs that you have. A lot of it is for maintenance, so you don't get injured, and a lot of it is for improvement. There's time of the summer or the time off that you could use it to rest and heal your body at the same time. And there's other ones you need to push yourself, because as professional athletes, every single day, or sorry, every single year, there's a crop of people coming in, and they're getting closer and closer to take your job.
Yeah.
And so if you don't move ahead, you're going to get stuck behind. And so that's why it's so important.
Interesting. Now that's got to definitely keep you on your A game, knowing that there's someone who wants your job all the time, even though they're a teammate. So here's a great question as we have to wrap it up shortly from Kayla Smith, related to coaching. If you were to choose one quality you would want in a coach, what would that be?
I think just like two things. It would be, for me, it's all about respect, but respect comes in different ways. It's respecting the game that you're coaching, and respecting your athletes. I think to me that's the most part. I had coaches that didn't have that. They thought better, they were better in the game, and they didn't respect the people that were playing the game. And I mean, not overly, but I think for me, when I saw that my coach was respecting what we were doing, and you had an opinion and you were able to give him, and that he understand it, and he didn't just brush you off, that goes a long way into a relationship with your coach.
Definitely a motivating factor that makes you want to work harder for them on sport.
Mhm.
So I've Olympics, gold medal games. I can't imagine if you don't perform, it could impact your country. So our Stanley Cups. Was there one environment that was much more pressure for you that you felt, or in the moment?
Yeah, I think winning a gold medal is one game, and that's you get your whole country, especially the one that I won in 2002. It was 50 years that the country didn't win a gold medal, so we had a lot of pressure on our shoulders to bring it home. So that one game, and I know most of you guys are all Americans, but we were playing Team USA, and we didn't want to be part of another movie, The Miracle. So we really we really played hard that game, but it was nerve wracking.
So no sequel for that, based on
Exactly.
your performance. That's awesome. Well, Martin, I have to say, it always amazes me when someone who's had such success in their career, an athletic career, still can be as grounded and humble as you are. So kudos to you, and I'm sure your 5 kids are learning those lessons from you every day. So thank you so much. Up2Us Sports, is trying to impact kids every day with the great coaches across the country that are really having an impact on kids' lives. And so appreciate you making time in your busy schedule to participate today, and want to encourage everybody to join the main stage room for the rest of the program, which is going to be super exciting.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening, and good luck to all of you.
Thanks so much, Martin. Take care.